Hello. Before I start,
Just start the tutorial!
Hold on. Before I start, I just want to make sure that you know that this isn't a multicam source sequence tutorial. Those are awesome, but a lot of the times multicam source sequence is not going to cut the proverbial mustard. For those of you who don't know what multicam is at all, you should check it out. It's a feature in Adobe Premiere that lets you take footage from multiple cameras, like this one, these ones, and if they're all rolling at the same time, later you can sync them up. Hello. Usually you would use multicam source sequence to do that. Also, before you do any of this, just make sure that you have this button here, toggle multi-camera view, that it's visible in your tools, whatever. And if it's not, you just go to this plus button here, beep, you find it, you drag it in, you drop it. Again, mine's already there, so I don't have to do that. But if that's not there, this will be harder for you. In a normal situation like this, you would import your footage, you would take, I'm gonna run through this because there's a ton of tutorials on how to do this. You would highlight all these, you would hit create multi-camera source, sequence, call it multicam 1, why not? And you would have the default options for everything, except just for the sake of time, I'm gonna hit all cameras right now. Again, if you wanna learn how to do it, multi-cameras this way, a million good resources out there. Peter McKinnon has a great tutorial on this. This is actually how I learned about the existence of multi-camera in the first place. Go check that out. I'll put the link in the description for that. For now, I'm just gonna use all cameras, hit OK. It's gonna make a magic new sequence. There it is, sweet little baby. And you're gonna rename it, let's call it multicam 1 just to stay organized. And you're gonna hit new sequence from clip. There it is, and you're like, nothing's there. It didn't work, David, you idiot. And no, wrong. You hit toggle multi-camera view. This is the point of multi-camera sequences. I now can see all the footage I filmed. I'm going to scroll to where all of them are filming at once, so it's easier to see. And yeah, here it is. Camera 1 is the first iPhone. Camera 2, second, cut to it. Camera 3, there it is. Easy. So you can see the whole point of a multi-camera sequence is I don't have to go in and make a cut on each track and like separate it so I can see the track underneath every time I want to cut to a different camera. And if you right click on multi-camera 1 and hit open in timeline, you can see that I've made cuts, I've made edits to different shots on my main timeline. My multi-camera sequence, there's no edits on it. Everything's there. It's non-destructive changes. That means I can make cuts on my main timeline and it's like it never happened on my other one. I can super easily go back and decide, hey, I don't like this, I don't like this. Camera 2 here, no, I want camera 1, boom. Now it's camera 1. It's really fast. Again, I'm blowing through this. Peter McKinnon's tutorial, check it out. Other tutorials, check them out. But the whole point of me making this video is that that's me making a multi-camera sequence. I knew that I was going to do that, so I filmed it. I had clear audio on both. I knew that it would take 2 seconds to sync up. A lot of the times when I'm editing, I mostly do vlogs. People will give me footage and so one camera, the audio's not rolling. One camera, they're cutting and starting like 100 times, and create multi-cam source sequence does not like that. It's gonna put each shot into a different track. You're gonna end up with like, if it's like a full video, you're gonna end up with, let's say, like 100 tracks. Totally overwhelming, not fun. And like another camera, the audio will just be like they're I don't know what they're doing with it. They're like blown into the microphone the entire time. You can't hear anything. Nothing's gonna sync up. When you get footage like that and you try to sync it for a multi-camera sequence, you're gonna get this kind of a message, and you don't want that. Let me tell you. And unfortunately, a lot of these situations, you'll get this footage and it's like, hey, I need this edit done in like a day. And that can be pretty overwhelming because you're going to have to sync it all up manually. And then on top of that, you're going to have to do what I was saying, cut, move aside each track, whatever. At the end of it, your client could be like, hey, I don't like camera this here, whatever. Turns out you've already deleted camera 3 off of that track. You gotta resync it from the start. It's a nightmare. It seems like there's no way to do multi-camera with this kind of a situation. It seems like it's impossible. But that's just not the case. There's another way to make multi-camera sequences, and I'm gonna show you it right now, and you're gonna say, thanks. Wow. Alright, so this time we got camera 1 right there. We got camera 2, and cameraman 2 is just, he's having a terrible day. He's drunk out of his mind. Cameraman 3 has never seen a camera before. He's on the run from the law, and he is hiding in a film studio and pretending to be a camera person. So, and he's actually doing an okay job for this situation he's in, but still not professional work. So this guy's rolling over here, this person's rolling over here. You can see it's starting in the middle of me talking. It's kind of hectic. This person's cutting. What the heck? This person cut. This person's starting again. This camera over here, ooh, how do I cut this, is cutting. So now I don't even have like a base video for this sequence, and it's a nightmare. This iPhone is starting again. It's just chaos. This guy's starting back up again. And we're supposed to take this footage and make a multi-camera sequence out of it. Premiere's not gonna like that, but I can show you how to do it. All right, so now I'm gonna slow things down a little bit, get into basically real time of how I would handle this kind of footage with a multicam edit. So I'm gonna go into my Lumix folder. I got iPhone 1, iPhone 2, and Lumix is the main camera I'm using right here. Right click, new sequence from clip. So I'm basically gonna treat this like I'm not going to use multicam. I'm just gonna sync it up in whatever way I can on a regular timeline. So for now, it's just like a normal edit. I've got my starter shot here. Gonna drop in my first iPhone shot, iPhone 1, real short boy. Right click, hit synchronize, and this is assuming the audio is usable, and for whatever reason you still don't want to use create multicam source sequence. So for that one, I just did that, as you saw, automatically. I'm going to cut ahead so I don't have this entire fat shot. I'm just going to use only the multicam parts of it. Okay, so there's the timeline. I synced up the, okay, you know what, but I'm bad because I forgot to do something. Before I even do any of this, I'm gonna make sure that I label my shots. I always use the base camera is always gonna be whatever the default color is called. Maybe Iris is what it's called, I'm not sure. I'm not a color expert, but iPhone 1, I'm gonna label it. It's gonna be mango. iPhone 2, I'm gonna highlight both of these, label them purple. Sure. So every time I see mango, I know it's iPhone 1. Every time I see purple, I know it's iPhone 2. Lumix is Iris. I am a color expert. And I already dropped this shot in from iPhone 1, so I'm going to go ahead and label that now, just for clarity, to mango. So let's say for whatever reason I try to sync iPhone 1's second shot and syncing fails. It probably wouldn't happen right now because the audio is fine. But let's say you get comparable shots from a client and the audio is recorded through a potato of low quality. There's multiple ways to sync manually. Obviously, optimally, you would have like a clapboard rolling. All of the cameras looking at the clapboard, you hear it, you can sync based off the peak. You can't do that in most YouTube editing situations that I've been in, most vlog editing situations. Most editing situations, actually, that I've been in, even in film school, people are just going for it. You forget about the fine things on set. So it's up to the editor to make sense of what the heck is going on. So basically you're gonna look for, anytime you say the subject says like a sharp, like a T or a B or a P sound or something. So let's scrub through, let's find that. Oh, how do I cut this? Is cutting. Okay, the C sound right there, it's cutting, that I can use that. So right at the start of the C, I'm gonna, again, this is kind of janky way to do it, but it works pretty much every time. See, I'm going to put the in point in by hitting I. Okay, I'm going to get this off my timeline for now. I'm going to find, oh, I filmed these freaking up and down too. I'm just a sad visual. Anyway, I'm gonna go through and see where I say cutting. Person cut. Oh, like this is cutting. There it is. You find the C noise. Boom. You line them both up. Splow. Cutting. You hear that's pretty good. You're gonna click on this. You can see. You can zoom in and look at the actual waveforms to line it up better. You like that? That's professional hand motions. You can hold command and arrow key. Move it back one frame. That's literally gonna be perfect. I don't even. Is cutting. There it is. You're going to want to look for, if you did it right, it'll sound like the audio is just a little bit louder all of a sudden, not that there's any kind of echo. That's going to be a perfect sync. It's painful for me to watch this footage, but I do what I must. Alright, so iPhone 1 is synced up. Let's finish up with the Lumix here. Get the second shot. Find another sharp sound. And this is it. And we're supposed to take this footage and make a multi-camera. This is kind of weird, but I'll just go off of the start of this F. Starting again, and we're supposed to take this footage. So that's probably good. You're going to drop that onto your sequence, keep it within the same track. You want to keep every single camera on its own separate track, and you're going to see why in just a second. Zoom in, check the waveform. I actually might have nailed that. Footage, make a multi-camera sequence out of it. One frame back. Footage, make a multi-camera sequence. Nailed it. Okay, switch to iPhone 2, which is going to be camera 3 for our purposes. So track 3. There's a lot of different ways to sync up footage manually, even if you don't have audio. I was just editing a vlog where there's like a bunch of people jumping into a pool and all sorts of crazy stuff, and I would sync up shots. One camera had no audio on it the entire time. They're a slow motion camera. Whenever they would be like jumping in, if their like foot was the first thing to touch the water, I would go off of, okay, when the foot makes contact with the surface of the water, that's where I sync up, and lo and behold, that worked pretty well. You just sync up however you can, however you normally would. If you don't know what multi-cameras are at all, however you've been syncing up footage is probably fine. Whatever you're most comfortable with, whatever you can do the fastest. I usually do the syllable method. One thing that I forgot to do is you want to take every single shot. I'm going to make sure link selection is on here so it highlights both the video and audio. Once you sync it out, you drag them all the way back. If you cut in on a syllable noise, you placed it on the timeline, you probably cut off a bunch of stuff at the beginning, drag it all the way back and make sure it's nice and lovely. That is all the footage, all synced up. Like I said before, I accidentally filmed these in vertical, so we're just going to take all these iPhone shots and scale them up. This is not part of the tutorial, it's just part of me messing up. So these are going to be nice close shots right on this face. Normally if I wanted to cut this down and I didn't know about the method that I'm about to tell you, I would be clicking here, I want my Lumix right here, I would delete this, there you go, blah blah blah. It would take forever. It would stink. I like the auto synchronization feature of create multicam source sequence, but I think the real power of multicam is that ability to just bam bam switch as if it's a live TV switchboard and just edit like in real time basically. But this is the magic. Okay, you can just take all of this, you right click on it, you hit nested sequence, normal nested sequence that you can open up, you can edit it again later, and the key to this whole thing is you're gonna right click, multi-camera, enable. Boom. It's going to function the same way as create multicam source sequence. You're going to hit multicam editing mode. There's all three of our cameras. It's glorious. I always leave all of my cameras audio on the timeline until like the very last second. That's the last thing that I'll take off, because as you can see, I can see exactly when each camera is going to start up and stop based off where the audio is. So I know camera 2 showing up there, camera 3 showing up there. This guy's rolling over here. This person's rolling over. I can cut, and it's just like normal multicam. You can do, what is it, function 1 or whatever to select different shots on Mac. I recommend making another keyboard shortcut layout for yourself. The default is going to be keys 1 through 9 is going to be select camera 1 through 9. I recommend making a multi-camera editing keyboard layout for yourself. So 1 through 9 is actually cut to camera 1, 2, 3, whatever. There's no weird shortcuts you have to do. You just watch it. Here. This person's rolling over here. You can see it's starting in the middle of me talking. Click it. Kind of hectic. This person's cutting. What the heck? This person cut. And you notice I cut to the wrong camera right at the end there. Okay, I cut to black, but I know, okay, my first audio track has audio on it. So I know my camera 1 is going to be there. So I go back, I switch to camera 1. This person cut, this person there you go. Started. And the other fantastic thing about this is, let's say I just wanted to trim this down to like a 3-second clip. My usual process for that would be, first of all, I would switch back to my normal speed layout. I can make a video on what my shortcuts are later, maybe. I don't know if you care. But I would just go through and I would just cut this down as if it was one normal clip. So let's say I wanted to make myself say, so this guy's rolling over here. Premiere's not gonna like that. I don't know why that would be the case, but that's what I'm gonna do. And just pretend that this is a normal vlog cut down, whatever. I'm gonna cut. I have ripple delete set to Q right now, so I'm hitting Q. You do it however you want to do it. Let's say you want to use the razor tool. Don't do that, but you could, and cut all of these and delete them to that point. I'm cutting this down like it's a completely normal video, like there's nothing multicam about it. So it's rolling over here. Premiere's not gonna like that. I did it. This is simply to simulate my usual workflow of I get maybe 50 minutes of footage, I would sync it all up. However, I could automatic synchronization, the syllable technique. I don't know if that's the official name for it, that's what I'm calling it. Or visually, if it's really that bad. And I would have it all laid out. I got, what, 50, whatever, an hour of footage, and I gotta cut it down to 10 minutes. I would nest it, and then I would cut it down, probably based off the audio. Usually, again, I'm editing vlogs. Vlogs are extremely just dialogue heavy. You're really cutting by the waveform. Cut the whole thing down, go back, do what I'm about to do right now, right click, multi-camera, enable, and now I can make, after I finish my cut down, I go going to blah 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 keyboard shortcuts. I'm in speed layout right now because I just finished my cut down. I've been using speed layout because I'm gonna go quick. I switched to multi-camera editing, multicam editing layout, like I said, and I would play. So this guy's rolling over here. Oh, actually, you know what? This is a perfect opportunity. I was like, what's going on? I don't see my multicam. That happens sometimes. You need to make sure that your track is enabled, that the multi-camera sequence is on. So enable the track, boom, there's my cameras, and I can now switch to here. Premiere's not gonna like whatever cameras I want. I make my multicam selects after I've already edited my cut down, and it's just amazing, because normally I would lay all that out, I would cut it all down like I just said, and then I would have this abomination of a timeline that was like shots stacked on top of each other with like one missing here, one missing here. I've deleted the wrong one in one spot. I'm like, I gotta drag these other clips to make sure nothing's covering what I want to, and it's just totally ridiculous. With this, you finish the cut down, and then all you have to do is just go back, hit some keys. For a 10-minute vlog, let's say I've, like I said, 50 minutes of footage, I cut it down to 10 minutes for a vlog, and I have to go back and make camera selects. I could do it if I'm in a rush in, depending on the footage, like 5 minutes. Like, you can move through this. You could do it in real time, 10 minutes, or you can quick fast forward, go, okay, I know this camera starts here, and I'm mostly going to be using this, whatever. You can do it really fast is what I'm saying. It's not going to take you the 30, 40, whatever minutes that it would take you if you were doing this without a multicam and you just had stacked clips in each track. And on top of that, if you get notes on a video that you're editing and they're like, we want to switch to this camera, just like if you created a multicam source sequence, you still have the freedom to do that. Let's say I don't want to include cameraman 2 or whatever shots at all because I've realized that he's too intoxicated to be filming properly. So I switch back to 1 here, here. Premiere's not. I switched to 3 here. Premiere's not going to like that. Going back and changing the multicam edit you made is extremely easy because if you look at nested sequence 1, which is what our multi-camera sequence is pulling from, it's completely untouched, and that really is just so heartwarming to see. So that's pretty much it. There's almost no situation now where there's more than one camera rolling that you won't be able to make a multi-camera sequence for, and it's lovely. I hope you have found that helpful. If you want to like this video or comment something real nasty, then maybe don't do the second part, but give, say something. And